Just because you're super rich doesn't make you immune to breaking the law, right? Well, today we're bringing you 5 billionaires you won't believe have criminal histories. Welcome to another episode of RichTube, and if you want to see the only royal family member to ever have a criminal record, you'll definitely want to stick through to number 1. From speeding tickets to state treason, let's have a look at some of these billionaires' crimes that landed them on today's list. Number 5. Jung Lee. In 2017, South Korean Vice Chairman of Samsung Electronics Jung Lee was sentenced on charges of bribery in an attempt to win over the government's approval for the massive merger between Samsung, C&T, and Cheil Industries. Lee allegedly bribed his country's then-president, confidant Choi Soon-sil, with $38 million. The deal, which could have resulted in a massive payday for the Lee family, was eventually tied to impeachment and imprisonment of South Korea's president at the time, Park Geun-hye. The former president's relationship with her corrupt friend, Choi Soon-sil, landed her 24 years in jail and a $17 million fine for a string of corruption charges. As for Lee, the Samsung magnate, he denied his wrongdoings and was released on appeal in February 2018, after serving about 11 months in jail. But the case is far from over, as Lee is apparently facing a retrial that could send him back to jail on elevated bribe amounts, including a gift of horses valued at $2.8 million for Choi Soon's daughter, who loves riding. Number 4. Jaime Boughton. Jaime Boughton is worth $1.7 billion due to his shareholding in the Spanish banking group Bankinter, but these days he's better known as the guy who tried to smuggle a Picasso out of Spain on his super yacht. The painting is known as Head of a Young Woman, and despite a 2015 High Court ruling labeling it a national treasure that couldn't be removed from the country, the Spanish billionaire kept it on board his 213-foot yacht as he sailed to the French island of Corsica, from which he'd allegedly organized a private jet to smuggle it over to Switzerland, where he intended to sell it. Authorities were tipped off and caught Boughton in the French Mediterranean, where the painting was confiscated from and transferred to the Reina Sofia Museum in Madrid, where it now remains as property of the state. Boughton was ordered to pay an incredible $101.2 million fine, which is almost 4 times the painting's worth, and must now serve 3 years in jail. Quite a hefty sentence, considering it's his first offense. But as the saying goes, go big or go home. Number 3. Bill Gates. Microsoft founder and American business magnate Bill Gates was arrested twice, once in 1975 for driving without a license and speeding, and again in 1977 for driving without a license and not stopping at a stop sign. So one thing's for sure, Mr. Gates does not believe in driving with a license. Although the details are sketchy and records have been lost over time, the killer 70s mugshot of a young Bill Gates lends at least some credibility to the allegations. Also, a spokesperson for Microsoft once commented that Bill Gates does remember being taken into custody over driving without a license and a traffic violation, adding that it's well known that when Bill Gates was young, he didn't have a very good driving record. Since his minor run-ins with the law, Bill Gates has gone on to become the CEO of Microsoft and one of the world's richest men, amassing a fortune estimated at over $50 billion. He's also come to be known as one of the world's greatest philanthropists, so unlike others on the list, it doesn't look like he'll be going to jail anytime soon. Number 2. Curtis Johnson. Curtis Johnson is the great-great-grandson of Samuel Curtis Johnson, the founder of the multi-billion-dollar family-owned cleaning products giant SC Johnson & Sons. You're probably more familiar with the insecticide Raid and the toilet detergent Duck, and the infamous surface cleaner Mr. Muscle, which are just a few of the brands owned by the almost 150-year-old American multinational. In 2011, one of the cleaning company's dirty little secrets was exposed when Johnson was charged with the repeated sexual assault of his then teenage stepdaughter, which could have kept him locked up for 40 years. But the teen refused to give up her medical records, and after a 3-year litigation battle, Johnson took a plea deal. He pled guilty to misdemeanor charges of 4th-degree sexual assault and disorderly conduct in exchange for only 4 months in jail and a $6,000 fine. He only served 3. And although the case was put to rest, it definitely stained the Johnson family name, whose company slogan still, questionably reads, "A family company, at work for a better world." Number 1. Princess Anne. Princess Anne was the first senior royal to attend court in over 100 years, but perhaps that's mainly due to the exceptional rules surrounding the Windsors. You see, Queen Elizabeth has sovereign immunity in the UK, meaning no matter what she says or does, no civil or criminal proceedings can be brought against Her Highness, nor can an arrest legally take place in the presence of Her Majesty. So, no matter the crime, criminals cannot be arrested if they are hanging around Queen Elizabeth. In addition to that, if any member of the royal family is even remotely near a royal palace, they cannot be taken into police custody either. So how did Princess Anne manage to land herself a criminal charge? Well, one day, the princess's English bull terrier, Diddy, had escaped from her car and bit 2 children as they walked through a park in Windsor. The children were quite traumatized from the serious assault, and Princess Anne pleaded guilty to not being in full control of her dangerous dog. She was ordered to pay a fine and compensation to the victims, and advised to keep her dog on a leash the next time she's in public. Many thought the judgment was far too lenient, and believed the princess and her dog got off a little too easy. And that's it for today. Which of these criminal pasts surprised you the most? Be sure to enlighten us in the comments below. Oh, and if you found this video shocking, you'll love our other video on related video. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to get notified of more awesome videos like this one. See you in the next one.